Welcome to Booked All Night Season 2. Each week, Jess, Katie, and Maggie launch into new worlds, discover amazing characters, and bring you the best bookish discussions under the stars. We're a cozy little corner of the internet, so be sure to leave a comment and join the polls after each episode. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a chapter. Alright, my little Libranauts, grab a seat, grab a book, and join us as we explore some new pages. Can I just cry into the mic for 40 minutes? Is that, acceptable behavior? I wanted to read these last 7 chapters, but I really did not want to read these last 7 chapters because it was I know only pain is coming my way, not only because it's dystopian and that's kind of the nature of the beast, but also because of things that had been set up and things that we know from the other books in the series. And I was just I know he's not going to have a successful end until it catches up to Katniss's story. And I don't just want to beat this into me right now.
It was definitely, I was very sad towards the end of the games, how it all ended, until I was like, ooh, fun. The flamingos, I was like,
yeah,
oh, it killed me. That really, I don't know, it really,
the flamingos?
The flamingos were the mutts that kill
Mazily.
And they have, effectively, he doesn't even recognize them.
Yeah, he's like the pink birds, yeah.
Yeah, that they look like Lenore's swans, but they're pink and they're skinny. So he, doesn't know what a flamingo is, which has to be terrifying. They've made their beaks so that they're like razor blades, and they just
went right through her neck,
slash and go right through her necklaces.
There's that death. There's Welly's death. There's Haymitch's family's death. There's Silka's death. There's Lenore's death. I feel like every chapter was just. I mean, but that's part of what I'm saying, right? I didn't want to read these because I knew that's all that was coming to me.
Yeah.
It was so emotional, and I've got to stop reading before I go to bed because some books are really good before you go to bed. A Hunger Games book really is not conducive to good dreams and good feelings as you go to, no one's like, yes, a decapitated 12-year-old. Let me go to sleep now.
Yeah, I decided to read it and then play FIFA to completely disassociate from.
Yeah, I need a palate cleanser before I can go to bed.
Yeah. Actually, I did not care about Welly at all. When Welly died, I was like, yeah. You were just waiting. Because Welly was effectively waiting it out.
Yeah.
I did feel bad that Welly didn't seem to trust Haymitch anymore because he had abandoned him.
Yeah.
And then Welly died. It was more just the shocking
of how Welly died. Yeah, that was
how Welly died.
Yeah,
the fact that he gets beheaded waiting for Haymitch to come back.
Yeah.
That's what actually hurt. I was like, hey, Haymitch, you hooted up again.
Yeah. Hoot, 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 hoot. Let's build up to that, right? Because at the beginning of the section that we're in, the plan is to do as much damage to the arena as possible with whatever they have left to do that with. And then immediately we get into a confrontation with Silka and the other careers. And then in the middle of that fight, there's game makers in the arena.
The lowest of the low game makers.
Yeah, they're mopping stuff up.
True grunts if you are cleaning up the arena during it. You must, bottom of the barrel game makers.
Yeah.
And they kill 2 of them? All 3,
yeah,
right?
They kill all 3.
Yeah.
And
except
Haymitch. And so there's this huge reflective moment, and Mazily calls him out. She's like, okay, so here we are fighting to the death with these people because of these people, and these people who I was just trying to kill and who were trying to kill me helped me, but you, my ally, did not. Do you see the problem with this? And, he's like, I'm sorry, I just didn't know what to do. Should I have? There's a moment later, after they're definitely dead, I know that I wrote it down. They were none of them very old. Were their deaths painful? Do they leave people behind? Are their parents, friends, and neighbors weeping for them as ours do as they lose us? Will their loved ones ever know how they really died, or will an accident be fabricated to conceal the capital's incompetence? I mean, of course, that comes up later because while we're watching the recap, we see that the capital is just Not that we're surprised, right? The Capitol has propagandized everything that has happened in the game, so none of the messages that Maisily and Haymitch were trying to get out and make a point of to say that, like, we are human, we are deserving of rights and compassion, made it past the camera. Yeah. And that includes killing the game makers, because that would reveal that the Capitol was incompetent on some level.
Yeah, and they, like, even go as far as, like, changing the days that people are dying.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, what a crazy level of, like, all I could think was, like, this is like when pro wrestling would tape it on Tuesday, come out Friday, and you could, like, read. I was like, are there, like, dirt sheets for the Hunger Games where people are like, yeah, heard a rumor says that Wyatt dies.
I mean, there probably is, right? There's, like, some low-level game maker in there that's watching the games who's responsible for, like, the sun goes up now, the sun goes down now. And they're probably going home like, oh man, you won't believe what Haymitch did today. That boy just let the other one get eaten by squirrels. Yeah. The amount of parallels to today is unnerving and incredibly uncomfortable, because I don't need to be reminded about today's world. Yeah. Today's world is what it is, and...
Which, we'll get to that big issue I have.
Yeah. So in that moment, though, Haymitch has an introspective moment, right? And he's like, am I a coward? Why didn't I step up to harm these people in some way? Am I brainwashed? Am I too scared to attack the Capitol? And in that moment specifically, like, are these game makers, these particular game makers, are they responsible and deserving of the deaths given their connection to the Capitol? Which brings us back to the idea of just war theory, where it's like, okay, like, they are wearing the uniform and they are doing the work, but they are not actually the ones that are in charge. Are they equally as responsible? And it just kind of comes back to, like, you know, there is a word for people in Germany that still signed up for the Nazi party, even though they didn't agree with it. And history remembers them as Nazis. That's just how that is.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's a good idea for Haymitch to, like, contemplate about how he feels about them dying. Otherwise, it's just the Nuremberg defense, right? Yeah. Like, the game makers are like, hey, you can't blame me, I was just following orders. Yeah. So I was kind of like, yeah, no, they're bad. The person who cleaned the gas chambers is like,
still part of the problem. Yeah.
I mean, actually, I would assume that the person who cleaned the gas chambers was also a prisoner.
Yeah.
Like, that probably actually didn't, like, do something. But I was like, I like it as a theory emotionally for someone to think about, like, how should I feel about it? But I was also like, yes, they are. They are evil by
by association. They are bad people. The end.
In the Capitol, there's clearly other jobs they could have.
Yes.
They chose me. It's like when people try to claim that their life matters solely based on the occupation they have when they don't respect the lives of other people. Whatever that could be.
I don't know. I'm truly...
Capitol lives matter.
Yeah. So after this, you know, they release the mutts, the flamingos, as we were saying, and one of the mutts kills Maisily, goes right through her neck, cuts the necklaces that are, like, her signature thing, and Haymitch stays with her. And this is, like, shortly after they split up, right? Because after this, there's 5 of them left. It's Maisily, Silka, Haymitch, Welly, and then somebody else who I don't remember. Which is another point I want to bring up later about how many characters had names, but that's, like, I'm really torn about my feelings about that, but we'll get to that. Maisily says outright to him, you know, there's only 5 of us left. We may as well say goodbye now anyway, because I don't want it to come down to you and me. And Haymitch, of course, also does not want that. That would be heart-wrenching for the two of them. And then she goes out, has the fight, and they get taken down by the pink birds, the flamingos. And Haymitch stays specifically so she's not alone, and tells her, like, it's okay, you were family. And they have the little pinky promise to make a good poster and be terrible victors. And it's awful. And we find out that Maisily had a potato light kit in her bag.
Oh, that he gave her. That she smuggled in. Somehow. Yeah. Again, I assume up her bum. No.
I feel like at this point, they're not really checking all of the nooks and crannies. And as a girl, the bra is, like, the best place to smuggle stuff, because you just lift one boobie up and you tuck stuff under there. And the little potato light kit is tiny. It's specifically, like, it's not in a pocket, but it's, like, in a tear in the backpack and shoved in there. So it's small. So she absolutely could have just shoved that in her bra and brought it in and be like, nah, what are you going to do about it? We're already here to die, which is kind of the attitude they all have about everything they're doing in the arena. And that's when we have the quote that I brought up earlier, where he's like, did these game makers deserve to die? And this was obviously done in retaliation to killing the game makers because they were taken down by mutts. Like, this is something that is meant to drive home a message to us that are still here. And we're never going to get a view like that from the Capitol. Yeah. You know, like, even future allies don't humanize the districts in this way. They always try to justify, like, okay, you know, there are good people on both sides. And it's like, no, not in this case. You know, in this case, there are sympathizers and there are people who allow it to simply happen because they aren't voicing their opinion. The game makers, right? The ones that are in the arena, if they weren't actively in there trying to, like, I don't know, leave extra food for the tributes or leave something open so they could get out or hide somewhere or do something safely for anything.
And in fact, what they're doing is trying to introduce a mutt so that can come kill them. They're like, we're about to, could you come back in 10 seconds so my science project can kill you?
Yeah. It's like the guy that ties the noose, right? He's like, I didn't actually drop you, and I'm not the noose itself, but I did tie a really good knot.
Yeah. I thought they were like the game makers that are the kids in the science class that wait till like the day before to do their project. And they're like, oh, we got to get our mutts in. Like, come on, we got to really fix this. We got to fix it before anyone notices that, like, our volcano already erupted.
They're using, like, poster glue to hold the signs up and... Oh my god. We have Finding Welly, who is dehydrated beyond all get out, and obviously terrified and confused that she has made it this far.
Yeah.
And they get sent a parachute. It's got like a little chocolate in it, and they're up in the tree, and they're tied securely to it so they don't fall out of it while they rest. And Silka winds up below them as they are eating the chocolate. And at first, Haymitch thinks the crying is Welly, and he looks over and Welly is asleep. And then he realizes it's Silka, and he drops a piece of chocolate, and Silka eats a piece of the chocolate, and there's this moment where the three of them are just like, it's not over yet. We're still in this absolute nightmare and trying to, And it's touching, and Haymitch's reaction to it is that this will show the Capitol that we have compassion for each other, that we are human, and it is one of the many things that they just cut out. They're like, no, we can't have that. And then the next day, Haymitch goes to look for food, and he comes back, and Silka's just like, look, the head comes off. Mm-hmm. So Silka is one of the careers, and the careers are obviously very brutal. They idolize people being to the point and very clean cut and just going in and killing and ending the games outright. So if they did air Silka crying back home in her district, that's incredibly embarrassing and disgraceful for her. So the next day, she turns around and brutally murders one of the other tributes.
Yeah.
So that if she does win, she goes home and it's okay because, look, I did the murdering and I did the thing. And then she and Haymitch have their fight, and he tosses the axe off and it comes back up, but not before taking a bunch of wounds.
Show it!
Yeah. So he's bleeding out, like
holding his intestines in.
He's holding his intestines in.
You can feel him.
And building a little potato bomb. And the game makers are coming to get the bodies, and they're like, stop doing what you're doing. And he was like, no,
he's like, I'm obviously about to die. In one hand,
he's got his intestines, and in the other ones, he's got a potato.
So he's like, no, like, which is funny because they shoot at him and miss. And I'm like,
yes, they're stormtroopers.
Yeah,
they're all in white. You know, they just.
He's like, they shoot at me and miss. I was like, that's funny.
Yeah, and so he does manage to do a little bit of damage. Obviously, that Capitol is just representative of cruelty for the sake of cruelty, to be above and beyond somebody, and that good old colonialism. But if you're gonna just cut what they do anyway, what does it matter that he damaged the arena in any way, shape, or form?
From the Capitol's point of view, what the hoot do you care?
Yeah, what do you care? You already cut around it.
Yeah, it's done. He's like, you've cut it at him laying there. Who cares? Just be like, oh, yeah, golf clap, snatch him.
Yeah.
Like,
immediately go to the commentary from the sports announcers.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't.
It's like when there's a streaker on the field, they rarely like they're not like, let's check out the size of that guy's ding dong.
They won't show the streaker on the field, but they'll show the possum, and the possum will become a meme.
Yeah.
I'm a star.
Like, and then now, like, go back into like torch, which then it was like, I get the like Snow theoretically didn't want him to win, right? Like,
Yeah.
felt personally slighted. Doesn't like 12, obviously, which, like, you know, he's right. It is a person from 12 who takes him down. Like, he's not.
Always seems to be those people from 12 that just want nothing to do with you. Like, I wonder.
The weird, like, him being locked in the apartment.
Yeah, he's there for a couple of days.
Well, first he's in the, like, PETA room because they're, like, torturing him with mutt animals being, like, just there. Where it's like the snakes are eating stuff. And, like, whatever. Did not understand. I was like, why am I reading this? I don't care. It felt like it took a long time. All of that, I was kind of like, Suzanne, I get it.
I get it. The capital is evil. Let's go on. Yeah.
Come on. Like, because the party parts, I like those, right? Like,
those were weird too, because they have him in like a go-go cage, and they're walking up and talking to him, and he's just like,
as he says, he's trying his best to make sure that, like, Lenore Dove is okay. Like, I'll play your part. Like, you suck up to the oppressor. You do everything they say. They will still kill everybody away from you and kill you because they don't, you can't suck up to.
It's very King George from Hamilton, right? I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. Da 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 da.
My complaint is that there's still not like a call to action of like, what are the answers? And I think I just figured that it's like, after all, he goes through all of that, he goes through all the killing, he goes through all the like physical sacrifice and emotional sacrifice, and then he's humbled into being a little like b-boy for him. Like he's just a little punk, and then there's still like everything you did sacrifice wise doesn't matter. Meant nothing. And so it's like, I guess maybe the call to action there then is like, don't give them an inch, don't give them a second of your effort. Like, do not try and please the oppressor. They're not like, they will turn on you quicker than like anything. They will they do not care about you. You're not human to them. Fight them. You never stop fighting them. You don't try and please them. You don't make nice with the person who wants to kill you. Is in a weird way if Suzanne Collins is also there saying like, is there a reason why you should kill or not? It's
not even, is there a reason to kill? It's, is there a reason to go to war and have this massive violence and to, take out even people who are bystanders? Is the violence ever really worth it? And it's like, well, he set the house on fire knowing that the cistern was still empty. So that his family could burn alive while he watched, and also poisoned his girlfriend so that he could watch while she died. So yeah, I think in this sense.
But has he tried being nice? Yeah, like if someone's gonna kill your entire family and everyone around you and everyone in your city, do you kill them? And it's like, yes. Given the opportunity to kill, yes. Which is kind of why I'm like, Haymitch, you're like a loser, because you had a chance to kill him and you didn't.
Yeah, but that comes up, right? Because he could have let Snow die early on in the book when Snow's like, oh, oops, I ate my own poison again, as I am wont to do, and now I need bread and milk. And Haymitch obviously just downs the milk. He's like, oh, no milk here. Let me wipe that mustache off. And he's not particularly good at hiding that. And so this comes up at the end of in the games, and he's just fed milk and bread, milk and bread, milk and bread, milk and bread. Yeah, he's given like the same food, and then they turn his TV on, which really their like TV turned on, and I was like, I called it. They're gonna show it. Oh, I was like, oh, it's a recording of Lucy previous games.
Yeah, from I was like, whack. So
they show all that, and he has never seen these. He's like, these. I don't know who these people are or when these games took place. And we specifically get a detailed description of Lucy Gray Baird, because obviously, we want to call to the other books. And it's just like, oh, she's in this really bright rainbow dress. I've never seen or heard of whoever that is. And then it just kind of goes on. And he's just like, all these things just blend together and the days become the same day. And then they take me out and they put me in a go-go cage. And then suddenly I'm on the train and I'm going home. Then he gets home and he's like, I'm going to go home, but his house is on fire.
And his mom and brother are wrapped in each other's arms is how they find them. Oh my God.
Yeah, at the funeral for that. Because they put them in the same coffin because, quote, they had hold of each other, thought we'd let them stay.
Yeah.
I was like, why do you want to dig this into me?
Yeah.
It's so hard.
And then they're having one funeral because they're like, we can't possibly have 6.
There's so many deaths that this just took from us.
Yeah.
And it's every district lost a whole bunch, right? Like there's no way that other districts didn't have something that Snow went after them for. It really hits home is what happened.
And then like the fact that like Wyatt's dad like kills himself because he's like, I felt like he finally like
yeah, he realizes what a terrible thing it is to bet on the games. Yeah. So there's like 7 deaths at this one funeral. So then Haymitch starts drinking.
Yeah.
Actually, first he starts with the sleeping syrup, and he's essentially abusing NyQuil to go to sleep. Yeah. And then he's like, okay, moving on up.
Moving over.
to liquor and all the good stuff. And on the train on the Victory Tour, was it at the Victory Tour or when we watched the recap? But we do eventually see Mags, Wyrus, and Beatty, and it's after they have been...
Yeah, once they're on the Victory Tour because it's back at the Capitol. Their torture happens off screen where like Mags can't get out of the chair and Wyrus is like frantic.
That broke my heart. I don't want it to be on screen. I'm not like, hey, where's my torture? I was promised torture. But I feel like I got robbed of something.
I wanted to know what like happened. According to your own rules, they didn't do anything wrong. They trained their victors, didn't break any rules. Like, other than Wyrus.
Beatty.
Well, and Wyrus like
knocked out power.
Power. But like they didn't really like break their own rules other than having a successful victor. Effie saying like they were just so mad that they wanted to know who taught you how to make a bomb.
Effie, Trinket, and her
the patriotic duty.
For
Hunger Games. I was like,
it's all within the same page. Is Effie is my friend on the train. She tries to keep me sober, but it's full of liquor. And then Effie says, I know your position could not have been easy, but they really are for the greater good. Talking about the Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. Yep. It was just like
Effie.
Effie Trinket, fantastic character. Because there are people, have empathy, but don't have the mental intelligence or like care enough to understand the like awfulness, right? Like it's like the people that are like, I feel really bad for that person who got killed by the cops. And you're like, yeah, it is awful they got killed by the cops. And then they're like, you should just listen to what the cops say. And you're like, no, but you were so close. Like,
but
you were so close. Yeah,
but
like,
he did. He literally, there's video of him doing that. Just like they told Haymitch to go into the arena, and he did. And he, with the exception of, blowing up the dam and the bomb at the end, he did pretty much what you wanted him to.
I did like that he said, like, it's in the unwritten rules that you can't leave the arena. I was like, thanks for acknowledging that there's no rules.
And he points that out constantly. He's like, they never said we couldn't go under the arena. And there's really nothing said to us about leaving the arena.
I'm like, I want that book of, like, the year that, like, people just leave and then they're presumed dead, and then like ghosts show up in the Capitol. They're like,
or the year they're finally like, you know what? We probably shouldn't just put them in the arena and not give them a start time. So we'll threaten them with violence if they step off the starter before start time.
Yeah.
Like I would like to know the system of checks and balances in the game to discover any sort of rules.
Yeah. What's the year that that it happened? Or all 24 of them like, let's just hunt the mutts.
We'll just work together. Yeah.
Like, where they genuinely are like, no, we're not going to kill each other. We're just we'll turn this into hunt. We'll kill a lot. Like, like we're going to kill every mutt you send our way. Like that year. Where's that year?
You're telling me right from the get-go, everyone was like, yeah, okay. I'll go into the arena and I will fight everybody else to the death. Not one person was like, why?
Or not?
Like, why don't you just shoot us then? Like, especially in the teenage years, right? If somebody was like, listen, here's this and you have to go fight people, my teenage self would have been like, make me.
Well, what'd they do? Oh, they were like you. Like, that's not an answer going to motivate me.
Kill them or I'll kill you. Okay. Either way, I die, right?
You're actually skipping a part of this triangle where I kill you. Like, that's the like.
Can you imagine Millennial Hunger Games? We'll kill you if you don't do it. Oh my god, thank you. Because if you go through Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and they're talking about the purpose of the games, and it's to show us what we're really like, I'm like, who's it showing, though? Because it's just putting one half of the people in desperation, and the other people in this point of entertainment, which obviously, you know, is part of the message. But it didn't feel evil enough to be like, well, it shows us who we are. Like, it shows nobody who, like...
They're like, we're going to put you in an extreme situation to find out what you would do under the most horrific circumstances possible to survive or fail at it. Yeah. You know, because that's who we are.
Because people are just awful. I feel like more of the Capitol has to get fleshed out. The Capitol itself is a character, right? As we smoothly transition into the craft corner of the podcast. The Capitol itself is a character, but I don't feel like it's fleshed out beyond this flat, rich people thing. I don't think that it has any sort of depth. Like, the propaganda is all Snow. It's not even from the Capitol. It's specifically from Snow and the office thereof. But the people of the Capitol, you know, if the lines were even just like, okay, you know, 2 kids from the district for every Capitol kid that died, okay, that would be a little bit more depth as to why you feel this is perfectly acceptable. But I don't see why Capitol citizens, aside from entertainment, do see this as something that's okay. So in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, we go through where they're trying to make it a spectacle so more people tune in so they can keep doing it. I personally do not understand the shift for that acceptance, because part of the narrative of that book is that nobody's accepting of it. So then we move to Haymitch's games and everyone's betting on it. And the only actual rules of the games are when you can bet on things and what you can send and how much they cost as time goes on. And then we get to Katniss's games, and it's a similar thing where these people are just like, yeah, dress up in little costumes and dance for us. And it's like, okay, but how did you get here?
Yeah, which I guess it's maybe the sense of like the Olympics used to be a lot of people die because some person running a marathon covers themselves in oil, right? Like, people are like, okay, yeah, it's happening. But like, eventually it becomes the spectacle, and it's like the tradition becomes its own reason for existing. Like, if the people in power are like, how I would imagine it happening is like them being like, well, it's going to happen every year. Either like it or feel bad because we're not going to stop doing it.
I want that to be more fleshed out, and I feel like that was something that could have been fleshed out in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I feel like that could have been something at least hinted toward here with, like, Plutarch, because we're an ally in the Capitol. I'm like, but are you?
Or are you no different than Coin?
Yeah, like...
We're the same. It's like, no, you're a rich person who doesn't actually have to suffer any of the consequences I do. Yeah, but I feel bad.
Yeah, but my heart hurts. I clicked like on that Hunger Games post, so.
Yeah, I said it's a real shame. What was that? The thing that happened.
You know, that all those kids die. It's fine.
Which is why I think they all have names.
Okay.
Craft-wise, it is, I think, a good reminder in the real world. Someone gets killed, actually naming victims of, like, police brutality and, like, police murders, and naming them, and not just, like, calling them a number or a statistic.
Yeah.
But, like, they have a name.
That's where I'm mixed, right? And I'm looking for the page now where they are all listed. All 48 tributes names are listed. And I want them to have names, because that was a big qualm I had with the Hunger Games, was everybody was referred to by like weird facial features, right? There's Foxface and there's 12 and there's this big guy, and we only learn their names if we need to, and we didn't even learn their names.
It's how you know they're going to die.
Yeah, is if they get a name, then they're important enough to die. Here it is, right? So there's 48 tributes. They all have names, and this made it really, really difficult for me and my ADHD and the fact that I read before I go to bed to remember who these people were, because they didn't come with a bunch of descriptors. It was just names after a while. So it was Panache, Silka, Lupe, Carrot, Alpheus, Camilla, Janice, Nona, Ampert, Dio, Lect, Coil, Urchin, Barba, Angler, Marie, Hitchell, Anyon, Fizzer, Potenta, Miles, Welly, Atreid, Velo, Bircher, Autumn, Hartwood, Ringina, Wefton, Notion, Ripman, Alana, Ryan, Kerna, Clayton, Midge, Buck, Lanny, Stamp, Peeler, Hull, Chicory, Tile, Blossom, Wyatt, Maisley, Haymitch, Luella.
She actually said 3 Pokemon in there. Can you tell which ones it were? No.
Yeah. So on one hand, the message is that these people matter and they deserve to have names. And I am for that message. But as it comes to craft and writing, I need less names and more descriptions so that I can ultimately, and this sounds truly awful, but half of these people didn't matter. They died off of screen. They didn't contribute to the story other than being a statistic. And that is a terrible thing to say about the world. But in literature, I need them to mean something more. I think too, that like naming them and learning their names comes down to Haymitch's character, because he is, prior to becoming an alcoholic, he's the person who'll be like, I want to know everybody's name, and you are a person and I am a person and we will be people together. And so he goes out of his way to remember who's what and who has what thing and who has
feels bad about not being able to, like, when Maisley's able to like recall him, he's like, God, like he feels awful about it, which
is great character-wise for Haymitch, but it was a little obnoxious to me reading it with so many names.
I didn't care so much about the names. I was like, all right, whatever. I kind of just breezed past them.
I did, because every time somebody came up, especially later, I was like, wait, who's this? Where'd the other one go? What happened to this guy?
Like, I care about 3 people going into this game, or I guess 4. I cared about Lulu, Wyatt, Maisley, Haymitch, and Amber. All the rest, I'm like, well, who?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. And then, so, like, that's why I think when Welly died, I was like, who?
Yeah, and we said it earlier, right? The only thing that was really distressing about Welly's death was how it was done, was the violence with which it was done, because everything else in the arena, while violent, we didn't really see on screen, right? Ampert gets eaten by squirrels. We did not actually see him get eaten by squirrels. Even Luella, Lulu's death was like he rips it out and then she passes, and it's bad, but it's not somebody's head is no longer attached to their body bad. I don't want to say that they were slow or peaceful, because they weren't. But the descriptions of them were, if that makes sense. That like, okay, Maisley's dying. She's clearly bleeding out. She got stabbed in the neck with a whole bird.
Yeah.
That's obviously not peaceful, but the death with it is the emotion there in the scene. The pinky promise and make sure that you stick it to the capital message. When Ampert dies and there's nothing left, there's an emotion to go with that. Be like, I should have done more to protect this child from this particular fate. When Lulu sticks her face into the polleny plants and comes back out and she's like suffocating to death and he rips out all of her tubes. That's another one where he stays with them and he is this emotional support for them as a character and as a foil to the Capitol who is watching, right? The Capitol is like, oh, entertainment. And Haymitch is like, I'll be here. It's okay. This is torture for me to watch another person die, but I will be here and I will be as strong as I can so that you are not doing this alone. And then we have Welly. Welly gets some chocolate and then Welly loses their head. So I do want to talk about Haymitch's relationships to each of these deaths. So we'll start with Ampert, right? So Haymitch goes down to set the bomb, but I believe the original plan was that Ampert would build it and go down and set it. And because Haymitch went down, Ampert was left unattended and vulnerable. Then we have Lulu, who he wasn't really paying attention to. So then she sticks her face in something. and she comes back out. Now,
He
none of these
believes-
things are directly Haymitch's fault. I'm not going to be like, oh, because he went down there, directly responsible for Ampert's.
Yeah.
He's got all these weird side-by-side responsibilities for it. When Maisie dies, it's because he's not out there with her. That's right
he wants to
after.
sit at the edge.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, no, I'm just going to sit here.
I'm going to sit here. I'm going to mourn here. I'm going to do whatever here. She goes out and she takes a flamingo to the neck.
Mhm.
Then when he gets home, his relationship to his family's death is that he didn't fill the cistern up with water before he left on reaping day. And the relationship to Lenore's death is that he feeds her the gumdrop that is poisoned.
Mhm.
And there are all of these things that are not directly Haymitch's fault. They are just these little, he's slightly involved.
It's kind of like, hey, but you dumb. Some of them, like, you kind of fall for the trap, like, kind of predictable in your behavior.
Yeah.
Lenore Dove, you were so predictable that, like, they knew you'd be there. And, like, creepy surveillance of, like, yeah, we were watching. Like, we saw that you're, like, those gumdrops. We kept track of all that information. But also, it's like, you're predictable that you're going to do this. Even though he's, like, saying, like, I shouldn't. I shouldn't. It would be better for her. I'm not going to.
And then he do. Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? Oh, the thing everyone knew would happen.
Right. Like, I don't want to blame Haymitch, because at the end of the day, it is not Haymitch's fault that these deaths occurred. But the way in which he was not observant after being involved with the Capitol, who was all about subterfuge and poisoning people.
Ruin
and
your life.
Yeah. It felt naive of him in a way that felt like he didn't have an arc of growth through this whole story.
Mhm.
There was one more thing I wanted to complain about.
Was it the use of Edgar Allen Poe's The Raven?
It might have been. It was the use of nothing you can take from me was ever worth keeping. And I was like, oh, I feel that on the, you took my candy away from me.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the times he's saying that in reference to, like, people dying.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels like, well, these people didn't matter to me kind of thing.
That is how it felt. Yes. I get that. I think it was trying to be used as like, you're not actually taking them away.
But that's not what it reads like.
Nothing worth to keep him could ever be taken away,
Yeah.
which means since you took these people away, they weren't worth keeping.
That's exactly what it read like. And I was like, I don't think that's the message that we want to go with. The other part was the repetition of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven.
I was like, Suzanne Collins, good for you. Like, this poem gets taught in high schools and middle schools. Now you can be the most modern reference of this poem. I saw the epilogue is like 2 pages or whatever. So I'm like, cool, this is the last chapter. And I'm like, I'll be in bed in like 20 minutes, whatever. I got to read this. And then I flip the page and it's
Every other line is just The Raven.
I was like, I am not reading The Raven. If she decides to change a line in it, I don't care.
The final chapter is literally like, description, The Raven.
Mm-hmm.
A little description, The Raven, The Raven, The Raven. Description, The Raven. The Raven, description, The Raven. And I got so sick of seeing it. I'm like, you have ruined the effectiveness that this had by including its entirety in this last chapter.
Like, someone had to have read it and been like, don't think this is a good idea. And she was like, I'm going to do it. And they were like, okay. Like, I'm not going to have the second comment of like, no, really. This is not.
She was just like, F you, I'm Suzanne Collins.
Yeah,
I'm putting the entire.
And like, I was like, nobody was like, this really doesn't do what you think it is. Other than, again, I will emphasize, any English teacher teaching The Raven is going to be like, modern version of modern connection. Get them.
Right. Yes, it is a poem about loss and about grieving and about choosing alcohol above all other things. Yes, absolutely. The collected works of Edgar Allan Poe don't need to be in The Hunger Games.
Do we have time to talk about the epilogue?
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah. On record, I hate epilogues, I hate prologues, because it always feels like this couldn't have been included in the story, which feels like a failing craft-wise. I hate prologues because they're always like these big actiony things, and then we just fall back to the middle of nowhere where nothing's happening. Mm-hmm. And I hate epilogues because it's just like, well, a lot of other stuff happens in the story. And I'm like, no, just make it the next chapter. Like, let us build up. Give us actually the next 24 years of Haymitch's life where he's got to wake up every day and see 2 kids die every year. Happy birthday, Haymitch. You got to wake up and train kids to die. Show me that. Mm-hmm. And then show me the morning of the reaping where he watches a girl volunteer. Mm-hmm. But the epilogue was like, oh, I knew she'd be different when she volunteered. I'm like, no. That scene especially let me see from Haymitch's point of view, where he's immediately reminded of Luella, like, and he calls her sweetheart on the train. Like, don't recap that to me as a memory. Let me see that.
Like, at least make the acknowledgement of, like, I sort of volunteered.
I was volunteered. It's not quite the same.
And I get the point of it as far as, like, Haymitch gets a happy ending. Mm. That part I did like. I dealt with my trauma. So now when I see her, I'm not feeding her gumdrops. The last thing I'm saying is, like, I love you. Like, all fire. Like, that was nice. I was like, love that.
Yes.
Everything before where it's like, it's going to be the happy birthday jump to. And then there's this girl who volunteers. I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
And then her and some boy, Peter's his name. And I was like, yeah. It was like, it felt like such a, like, way to do it. And then, like, I would have appreciated more of just the, like, time jump where it's, like, literally him, like, feeding geese. Because Katniss and Peeta did this. Like, Suzanne, we've already read those 3 books.
I think also it could have done without the epilogue in the sense that it is part of a series.
Yeah, technically, your epilogue ruins your next 3 books if you read them chronologically.
Yeah, like, it connects up to that. We really didn't need to see that everything's going to be okay because the trilogy tells us we get on that journey there. And the more I think about it, the more I hate it. This is why I hate epilogues.
Well, I liked it because I was like, well, it at least answers my question of what order are you supposed to read the books in?
Yeah, I know I've brought that up, right? Are you supposed to read them chronologically or publication?
Well, I did wonder. I was like, ooh, could it be cooler that way? And I was like, in a way,
no.
Some things just won't make sense. They'll mean nothing.
They'll mean nothing until 3 books from now. Yeah. No prologues. No epilogues. The end. Like, I hate them so much. They take away so much of the experience. Like, imagine if this ends, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to find the line prior to the epilogue. Imagine for a moment that the end of this book is, I make no plans, have no hopes, keep no company, speak to no human being, except old Bascom Pie when my Nepenthe runs low. But I can't say I have no future, because I know that every year for my birthday, I will get a new pair of tributes, 1 girl and 1 boy, to mentor to their deaths. Another sunrise on the reaping. And when I remember that, I hear Sid's voice waking me that morning that Raven first tapped on my chamber door. Happy birthday, Haymitch. That would have been such a powerful ending.
Yeah, I was like, who? Like, just
who?
Literally everything you just read was highlighted of, like, who? That was, wow, that was, and it made me second guess. Maybe I should have read the Raven poem. No, I know it well enough. I've read it enough times. But I was like, oh, this is a powerful ending. Wonder what this epilogue is. Completely unnecessary. You're so dumb. Oh, it was awful.
I think it would have been more powerful to end it right there. Mm-hmm. It would have been
sad.
It would have been very sad.
Oops, all bummers again. Like,
yeah. Like, oops, all depression.
I think she was trying to balance the idea of not making it a true tragedy.
I think part of it is that publishing, especially children's publishing and teen publishing, doesn't like to have the true tragedy.
Yeah.
That they're like, well, we have to have an epilogue so that everybody knows that it's okay. And I'm like, well, you got 3 other books to let them know it's okay. I can't believe you and your big old cash grab wouldn't be like, oh, you want to know how the rest of the world turns out? You got to go read the Hunger Games trilogy. Instead, you're recapping the entirety of it in 2 pages, and you're doing it poorly and missing a lot of the message and taking away the message from this. That there's a lot of things that you can do to fight and to come up things that are going to feel like nothingness and it's going to feel like the sacrifice meant nothing, but it's not going to make sense until later on down the timeline. And instead, you just flashed us to the end of the timeline. Like, imagine if The Hobbit had a piece in it with the epilogue where it's like, oh, but one day Bilbo gives this ring to his nephew, and his nephew just, Hobbit walks it all the way to the mountain and tosses it in. And that's the epilogue.
And there's like someone's there, his friend. I don't know how many there was.
He was there. He's got some white robes and a beard. Like, it's fine. There was an eagle in the sky somewhere. It's just...
It's such a weird epilogue. Like, I like the epilogue idea of it being him, an old man raising geese and happy. And it's like, whoa. Because, like, theoretically, right, someone is reading it in chronological order or whatever. Years from now, I'm going to read it chronologically. See, and, like, so you read this every day. This happens. It's sad. Happy birthday, Haymitch. Perfect ending. If they read the epilogue, which I, like, often don't read epilogues or prologues because I'm like, nope. Because I'm like,
I hate them.
They should be in the book. Anyway, I was like, so I'm not going to read it. But they read it, and it's like Haymitch is happy, and he's raising the doves, and he feels like at peace what will happen. That then makes me want to go, oh, I need to go read the other books to, like, how does Haymitch go from everything is, every day, birthday is going to be the worst day of my life again to I am actually at peace now, but not the, like, there's a girl.
It's not even like an actual piece, it's a manageable piece, right? Because they all have PTSD, and that also feels taken. That's a whole other podcast. We've already talked for like an hour and 14 minutes at this point. But end of the podcast.
You're so close, Suzanne. I feel like you had a nearly perfect routine, and then you fell on the landing.
The epilogue just... Yeah.
Which, actually, you know what? No, I just feel vindicated. I'm like, that's why you don't read the epilogue, bruh.
That's a wrap on this episode of Booked All Night. We'd love for you to be a part of the conversation, so don't forget to rate the show, drop a comment, and share your thoughts in the episode poll. And remember, subscribing means you'll never miss an episode or interview as we launch into more amazing stories together. Booked All Night is produced by Rob Cook and his cats. So when you share your favorite episode, be sure to tag us at Booked All Night Pod on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook, and say hi to our guy in the sound booth. For more information, like reading schedules and dates on our upcoming interviews, check out the link in the show notes. That's link.bio/bookedallnight. lnk.bio/bookedallnight for those of you who don't check the show notes. Until next time, my little Libernauts, this is Jessica Mary, Leigh, Magdalyn Ann, and producer Rob signing off and reminding you to stay booked all night.